viewers in our new YouTube channel, Helm of Science. I am Hoimunti Chakravarti. I am a biology teacher and I am teaching biology past 25 years. Today, we all are going through a very critical situation, a novel coronavirus pandemic, and all of us are looking forward for the invention of the vaccine. And for the invention of vaccine, we all are depending on biologists. So being a biology teacher, I am very proud of myself. Now today we are going to learn the chapter reproduction. Before going to the main topic, you first come to know the word lifespan. Lifespan means the time period of a living being from its birth to its death, and the lifespan of the different living things are different. Suppose a human lifespan is 100 years, a banyan tree lifespan is 200 to 250 years, a wheat plant lifespan is a few months, and a banana plant lifespan is 25 years, and so on. So what is reproduction? Reproduction is a physiological process by which an individual produces a same kind of itself with slight difference in structural and genetical aspect. Now, reproduction in plants reproduction is our today's topic. So, reproduction in plants are of three types. One is asexual, two is vegetative, and three is sexual reproduction. Today we are going to learn the first part of the reproduction, that is asexual reproduction. Okay? Now for asexual reproduction, you have to keep your mind 7 points. Number 1, asexual reproduction needs no genetic material. Number 2, similar organism, structural and morphological. Similar organism is produced. Number 3, it's very fast. This process is very fast. And number 4, when an organism needs to produce its offsprings in a colonized area or localized area, then asexual reproduction is very helpful. Number 5, special structure is required. Number 6, no variation is produced. No variation. And number 7, the term clone is applicable here because the individual is produced by asexual is totally similar like its parent. And number 8, single cell is required. So in asexual reproduction, you have to keep in your mind these 8 points. No genetic material is required. Similar organism is produced very fast. Colonized or localized reproduction, this special structure is needed. No variation is occurred, and the term clone is applicable here, and single cell is required. Okay. Second type of binary fission is transverse binary fission. This occurs in paramecium. Here, paramecium has 2 types of nucleus. One is macronucleus. Macro means longer in size, and micronucleus, smaller in size. To contractile vacuoles and the oral group. Now, when transverse binary fission occurs, in the first step, macronucleus dividing amitotically and oral group gradually disappear. In the third phase, micronucleus, that is a smaller nucleus, dividing mitotically and new oral group forming. And in the next step, a new contractile vacuole forming, and 2 paramecium is separated to 2 daughter paramecium. And here you see that macronucleus, when dividing amitotically, it produces 2 nuclei, and the micronucleus, when dividing mitotically, it produces also 2 nuclei, and 1 nucleus from that macronucleus dividing when dividing mitotically, and micronucleus when dividing mitotically pair. Here you see, and 1 macronucleus from mitotic division and 1 micronucleus from mitotic division pair here. So 4 nuclei is produced, and they pair in group, and ultimately 2 daughter paramecium is formed. So this is called transverse binary fission because it occurs horizontally. You see here clearly, macronucleus dividing amitotically and the smaller nucleus is forming mitotically. Okay, and after the completion of the division, macronucleus produce 2 macronuclei, and micronucleus produce 2 micronuclei, and they pair in group, and ultimately 2 daughter paramecium is produced. So this is called transverse binary fission. Now, it's also occur in planaria. In planaria, you also see this type of binary fission, that is transverse binary fission. In planaria is a type of this type. Here, that portion is cut, and these 2 new planaria is formed from these mother planaria. So this is also called transverse binary fission. Okay, understood? Now we are going to our last binary fission, that is multiple binary fission. Now, plants reproduction, the first process is binary fission. Fission is of 2 types, binary fission and multiple fission. Binary fission are of 3 types, irregular, transverse and longitudinal. And the example of irregular binary fission is seen in amoeba. Transverse binary fission is seen in planaria and paramecium, and longitudinal fission is seen in Euglena and multiple fission is seen in amoeba. Now, in this picture, you see a cell of amoeba. You know, amoeba is a unicellular organism. And this red part is the nuclear part of the amoeba. And now, this part, this nucleus, is going to divide, followed by cytoplasmic division. You see, in this picture, here a constriction is formed and the two nucleus is separated. And from this constriction becomes narrower and narrower, and ultimately two daughter amoeba is formed. So it is called irregular binary fission. Okay, understood? Before going to the third type of binary fission, that is longitudinal binary fission, I would like to explain transverse binary fission in planaria elaborately. Here you see a transverse constriction is formed. Gradually this constriction becomes narrower and two daughter planae is formed. Now the third type of binary fission, that is longitudinal binary fission, and it is seen in Euglena. Here you see a blepharoplast. Blepharoplast means basal cell and some reservoir, food reservoir, and that is nucleus. First, that flagella gradually disappears when a longitudinal binary fission occurs. And longitudinal binary fission starts in the blepharoplast cells. Here you see that two contractile vacuole is formed and nucleus is going to divide, and ultimately this nucleus divides into two parts. After nucleus become here constriction is formed, and that nucleus is divided into two daughter nuclei. Ultimately, flagella reappears and this constriction becomes narrower and narrower, and ultimately two daughter euglena is formed. So this type of binary fission is occur in euglena. Here first flagella is going to disappear and the fission starts in blepharoplast cells, and ultimately a constriction is formed in nucleus, and nucleus divides into two nuclei, and ultimately in the cell a narrower groove is formed, and the groove becomes narrower and narrower, ultimately two daughter euglena is formed. So here we explain three types of binary fission. At first, transverse binary fission and longitudinal binary fission is you see in Euglena. Transverse binary fission you see in Paramecium and Planaria, and irregular binary fission is seen in Amoeba. So these three types of binary fission occurs in lower groups of plants. The last type of asexual reproduction is by the formation of spores. Now spores are formed in both algae and fungi. If spores have flagella, that is motile spores, they are called zoospores, and they are produced in sporangium. And if the spores cannot be motile, mobile, they are called aplanospores. Now, in zoospores, you see two flagella. Zoospores are found in the simple type of algae and some fungus. Now, zoospores are motile spores, I already told you, and aplanospores are non-motile They are called aplanospores or hypnospores. Spores which germinate directly to form new individuals. In fungi, the most common method of asexual reproduction is by the formation of spores. You see, it's a fungus hyphae, and here you see aplanospores, and the container and the organ thing where the spores are situated are found are called sporangium, and the stalk-like structure is called sporangiophore. So spores are found in both algae and fungi. Now, according to the mode of formation, there are two main kinds of asexual spores in fungi. That is sporangiospores and conidia. Sporangiospores are produced within the sporangia. You see here the sporangia and there are spores. So they are called aplanospores. And in some type of fungi, these aplanospores are found in very primitive type of fungi, that is Pythia, newer fungi, and they are motile and they are called juice spores. And in the members of mucorales, that is rhizopus, they are non-motile and they are called aplanospores. Fungal juice spores are without cell wall. Fungal juice spores possesses no wall and possesses one or two flagella. On the contrary, non-motile aplanospores have typical cell walls around them. So, here you see that fungal juice spores are without cell wall. But some non-motile aplanospores have cell walls around it. The sporangiospores on germination germinates by forming a germ tube to initiate the assimilatory phase of the fungus. So, in fungus, sporangiospores are produced within the sporangia. You see sporangia, and they are usually motile. They are called juice spores. And when they are non-motile, they are called aplanospores. Both aplanospores and juice spores are produced in sporangia. Or on the contrary, fungal juice spores are without cell wall and possesses one or two flagella. But juice spore means the spores which are motile. They have no cell wall. But aplanospores who are non-motile, they possesses cell wall. Okay, and from these spores, the spores germinate and initiating a germ tube and to initiate the assimilatory phase of the fungus. And here you see one type of spores that is called conidiospores. Conidiospores are found in many different groups of fungi. They are produced exogenously, means outer group. They are produced on outer side. You see, juice spores are produced in sporangium, aplanospores are produced in sporangiums, but conidia are produced exogenously. Okay, so the three types of spores we can see in algae and fungi. Algae mainly possesses juice spores and fungi possesses juice spores which are motile and aplanospores which are non-motile and conidia. Juice spores have flagella, aplanospores have no flagella, and juice spores possesses no cell wall, but aplanospores have cell wall, and conidia are produced exogenously. Both spores, when favorable conditions arise, produce young plant. Okay, So 6 types of asexual reproduction we read today. Okay. Now the sixth number and the last type of asexual reproduction is by spores. Spores are produced by algae as well as fungi. According to the mode of formation, spores are of two types. One is sporangiospores and another is conidiospores. Now, sporangiospores are produced in sporangium. Sporangium is a container where spores are produced. You see, this is sporangia and it is spores. It is sporangia and this is spores. Now, sporangiospores are of two types. When they possess flagella or any locomotory organ, they are called zoospores, and when they are non-motile, they are called aplanospores. Now, zoospores are found in algae, previously I have told you, and in some lower fungi, that is Pythia. And aplanospores are found in mycorrhizal type of fungi, example Rhizopas. Both spores are produced in sporangia. Now, the third type of spores are produced exogenously. They are called conidia. Okay, so today we have discussed the 6 methods of asexual reproduction in plants. I hope all of you enjoy today's video. Like my video, please subscribe my channel and share it with your friends and family members. And if you have some query, you can write it in the comment box.